post, was it yesterday? We saw a talk say, the truth does not require a crowd to be told. It does not require um, thousands of people to be told. It only requires a dedicated group of men and women, no matter how few they are, to tell that truth. And that group of men and women just have to be determined to tell that truth, regardless of whether that truth is accepted or rejected by a certain group of people. But truth, in the final analysis, is going to be the only thing that's going to set us free. You know, in truth, there is salvation. In truth, there is progress. In truth, there is freedom. So we have remained committed to the question of truth telling, the truth telling, speaking truth to power, right, in the face of those who have power. So regardless of whatever campaigns that have been launched by individuals and groups of organizations with a whole country hostage for the last almost 60 years, we have to be very determined and very deliberate, you know, in our effort to tell the truth. So this is a program of truth, and we want to encourage all those who have continued in this journey with us, not for relent. We still get for determined. In the final analysis, we have only one country, which is Sierra Leone. It's the only country we call ours. It's our homeland. It's patria. It's our homeland. We therefore make sure, say, whatever contribution we're able for contribute to the progress and development of the country, both in terms of its civic conversation and in holding leaders accountable and advancing democracy. We must do that in the most peaceful way, in the most democratic way. And one way is through this kind of conversations. So I would like to welcome you all again once more to this conversation. On today's Frontline show, we want to continue the conversation on corruption and financial and political corruption. And by extension, we also review Madabio in operation, how it don't govern the country in the last 4 years. Of course, we already know what we've been known for. In these 4 years, is our continuous effort to bring the truth about corruption to right in front of the ordinary Sierra Leonean. So today, Madabio and Fatima Bio, they travel outside of the country. Even if the African Express no report how much they don't take, ordinary Sierra Leoneans able to use their calculator using the evidence we have already highlight for calculate on their own terms how much they think say the president don't put my briefcase and how much in wife they also put my handbag for cargo cash. Now they not only take cash for go with when they go, they also transfer money. So like England they go then send money to the to the Sierra Leone High Commissioner London, say yeah, we can't hold this money. If not in New York, they send first money to New York, say yeah. Apart from that, they also put money in their briefcase and their handbag. So we have a couple. We have a president and a first lady whose business we have seen is to travel around the world. There's nothing, okay. Traveling is one thing, using our money to travel is one thing. Maybe now people maybe like for fly plane, they like for go about charter plane and fly, go sit down and sleep in a hotel and all of that. But what is becoming now obvious is the fact that they travel again, now part of a process for loot the treasury, for loot the central bank. And this has been a pattern that we've documented. We don't tell them and say just between the 2nd of September to the 16th of September, Madabio and Fatima Bio don't take away more than $600,000. This include the trip to Kenya by the president, one-day trip, the trip to London by the First Lady for go cry bearing, and the trip to New York for the UN General Assembly, over $600,000. And we are talking about 2 weeks, $600,000 taken out of the Central Bank of Sierra Leone from our own money. This money, by the way, it not include the amount of money spent by the president and the wife on tickets for cross ferry, would they pay for seabird or whatever ferry travel or the chartered flights, and also the pocket money of the other Bubu Jamawe Kifala them. These are just what the wife of the president and the president has taken in the name of paying for hotels and also their pocket money. Sometimes when I look at the financial transactions, interesting situation. So you see, in one, like for example, for the London trip, Fatima Bio, they take pounds, you take dollar. Mother Joseph take pounds and take dollar. They go to, I mean, these people they are like starved individuals. So but when you look at it, it's an operation. It's a way of using the legal mechanism that the country for loot the central bank. And I want to talk about this today. I want to talk about corruption, largely speaking, talk about specifically the corruption of the Electoral Commission and why it's very important for we to pay attention to that. We'd already been done the talk say when somebody they thief public money wey na the country money, any president and any group of government officials wey make their own business, their own preoccupation, their primary objective of for their power na for loot the national treasury. Then people and they will become so worried about leaving public office when they are exposed to the extent that they need to steal power. They need to steal an election in order to stay in power. Because the only thing we guarantee them the security now the fact that they are stealing, they are also stealing, they have to steal the election. What I try to say, if you thief public money, you go thief election, you go thief vote. Because if you not thief the vote, you lose power. The money we don't thief, they get for only for them. So for make it secure, you safe, and the money we don't thief, you get for also thief the election, so that you will able to gain power. And that not the precise matter building. It come in a power, you say they can't fight corruption, it reduce waste in public spending. You say the previous presidents will come before and when an escrow, maybe they travel all over the world, they can go long list of delegates and they spend so much money on travel. Where income it will reduce international travel. It will reduce the size of the delegation the way they travel. It will reduce frivolous expenditure. It will close leakages. It will cut down on frivolous spending. As they enter the power, and they will say, okay, this is good promise. It will harmonize salaries. All that here. It's beautiful. So what thing we go do? We see enter the power in April. He announced what he call the executive order on revenue mobilization. Then begin first they announce how much money they collect for the when they travel, they publish the list. So okay, after 2-3 trips, by the time they go to China, when they can at the UN General Assembly for the first time, and they list loss. Nobody knows most people in Camp Force in the UN General Assembly 2018. But I remember with Mother we go China, we dress like that old Mao Zedong Mao suit, that Chinese suit, where the Chinese they know they wear self now, and they go dress and force. So since that time, they will not see the list where go China. But we know say that we go to plenty people, including Musa Tarawali, will begin raise that concern. The list lost. Up to now, we don't know almost they get up a day, almost they spend, almost how many people they travel. That's what we tell them now. So we have to find it out on our own. So since then, we find out say Mother Bio, in fact, when he can't to travel alone, in the last 30 years, he has spent, there is no president that we've produced in Sierra Leone who has spent public money on so-called international travel more than he has done. Fact. If anybody get any evidence to the contrary, we challenge and come forward. Second, we talk say we come the wage bill increase. We say in the first 2 years no more. They don't add a lot of SLPP people at the payroll and give them special salaries and benefits. We don't blow the public payroll beyond recognition. Like balloon, we blow until they scatter. So that's the same thing they do. We show the example there of the different consultants. I don't know the salaries and I wouldn't publish. So that one, they back in a big lie. Number 3, he talks away, he can go harmonize salary, he go harmonize salaries. Salary harmonization, 30 days not happen. 5 years now, the council. We don't show back that. So at this point, there is hardly anything the government can point to because the so-called free education, free quality education, I left that to the people of Sierra Leone for decide. So with this kind of massive failure, the loot of the national treasury, the corruption, the hypocrisy between manifesto, declarations and what has happened, the reality, the difference between rhetoric and reality is obvious. And we don't show that with concrete evidence in real time. Now the question is this government going to survive an election? I have said a long time ago, it's impossible. There is nowhere in the world where this kind of situation can exist and the president will run a free and fair election and win. It's not possible. And this not come about, this kind of situation not come about because of Mamikos. No, we know the cause Mamikos. We know the cause possible. We just show the record as they are. As they are. For the most part, since we begin publish, I mean as somebody in the last 20 years, what I write, I write analysis of situations. I analyze political development, political phenomenon. In the case of the APC, I did an analysis of governance and in as much as I talk about corruption, but I did also long essays analyzing governance, analyzing failures. But I refused to do that for the last 4 years because I want to show no more precisely the action of the government. Like when they do lab, you get possibly sick as a doctor, the person come, you do all kind of laboratory test, lab test, then you produce it, say, look, analyze the result. That's what we did. And, a laboratory examination of the government or the government operations as they were happening and as they continue to happen. And we show them openly and say, when I look back, when I see the patient, this patient here, they say is sick. I mean, not sick. We don't say he's sick. Now we don't carry and go to the theater. We don't open belly. When I see him got them. So we did what we call a surgical kind of reporting, financial reporting, where we show in real time the numbers, the details, the records, the documents on their own terms. We don't analyze them. In fact, for analysis, now this kind of conversation, no more now we try to do some kind of analysis. We've not done that really. So what I try to say, I have refused to put my own opinions into the African Express reporting that we've done on Mother Bill for obvious reasons. Part of the thing because I want to allow the public to make their own judgment.